Cartel gold disguised as airplane engine parts. This was his third big job, after pulling off $400,000 and nearly $3 million before. Guards waved him through, like always. But this time, federal agents were waiting in the shadows. Here's the kicker. Danny's not just lucky. He planned every move, pulling off 3 heists at one of America's busiest airports. And every step almost got him caught or killed. If you want to hear how Danny became the most careful and daring airport thief ever, hit subscribe, smash that like button, and stick around. The story only gets crazier from here. Danny's hands shake as he guides the forklift through Miami International's cargo zone at 2:17 a.m. $23 million in criminal organization gold sits behind him, disguised as Boeing engine parts. Sweat drips down his face despite the November cold. This is it, his final score, enough to disappear forever. The security checkpoint looms ahead. Guard Miguel Santos waves lazily from his booth, same as always. Danny forces a smile, raises his hand in greeting. Late night repair run, Miguel. His voice sounds normal, but his heart pounds like a jackhammer. 50 yards past the checkpoint, Danny spots them. 2 black SUVs with federal plates parked in the shadows. Agent Martinez steps into the light, hand on his sidearm. Danny Rivera, stop the vehicle and put your hands where we can see them. Danny's world freezes. 18 months of planning, 3 perfect heists, millions stolen from the most dangerous criminals on earth. And it all ends here, caught red-handed with enough evidence to put him away for life. Behind him, Marcus is finally walking again thanks to the stolen money. Ahead, federal detention and the organization's revenge. He has seconds to decide, surrender or run, detention or worse consequences. But how did Danny Rivera, a simple airport cargo coordinator, become the most wanted man in Miami? To understand that, we need to go back 4 months earlier, to the night that changed everything. July 15th, Tuesday night shift at Miami International Airport. Danny Rivera, 48, guides his scanner across another diplomatic cargo container from Bogota. 22 years on the job, same routine every night. Check the manifest, scan the cargo, process the paperwork. At $67,000 a year, Danny coordinates over $2 billion in cargo annually, but he's invisible to most people who matter. Tonight feels different. His ex-wife Isabel called earlier about Marcus's medical bills. Their 19-year-old son was injured in an incident 3 months ago, left paralyzed from the waist down. Insurance covers basic care, but the experimental spinal surgery that could help Marcus walk again cost $180,000. Insurance calls it unproven and refuses to pay. Dr. Rodriguez says we have maybe 10 weeks before the window closes, Isabel had said. After that, Marcus stays in that wheelchair forever. You need to figure something out, Danny. But tonight, his scanner malfunctions. Damn thing's acting up again, Danny mutters, tapping the device against his palm. The diplomatic medical equipment shipment from Colombia shows weight discrepancies. Protocol says scan twice, but the machine keeps giving error codes. Danny sighs and sets down the scanner. He's dealt with Marcus's medical bills all day. The insurance company denied their third appeal this morning, $180,000 for experimental treatment that could restore feeling to Marcus's legs, and they call it investigational therapy not proven effective. He manually opens the container to verify contents. Inside, MRI machine components look normal. White plastic housings, metal brackets, standard medical equipment, shipping foam. But when Danny lifts the top panel to check the serial numbers, his breath catches in his throat. Vacuum-sealed bundles of cash. Stacks and stacks of 20s and 50s with Spanish writing and criminal organization markings. Danny's Navy logistics training kicks in automatically. He estimates the weight, calculates the volume, counts the visible bundles. $2.3 million minimum. His hands shake as he carefully reseals everything. This is illicit money being laundered through diplomatic immunity. His son needs $180,000 for surgery that could change his life forever. This single shipment contains enough money to save 12 kids like Marcus. But Danny processes it normally, following protocol. His signature authorizes the shipment to continue to Switzerland, where it will disappear into the international banking system. Another successful criminal organization money laundering operation, and Danny just helped it happen. That night, Danny can't sleep. He stares at the ceiling of his small apartment in Little Havana, thinking about those bundles of cash. Marcus calls from the rehabilitation center at 11:30 p.m. Dad, insurance denied the appeal again. Dr. Rodriguez says if we can't pay by January, we should start looking at wheelchair modifications for the house. Maybe we should accept this is how things are going to be. Danny's heart breaks. Don't say that, son. I'm going to find a way. How? You work at the airport for $67,000 a year. The surgery costs 3 times your annual salary. Face reality, Dad. Danny hangs up and stares at the ceiling. Criminal organizations are moving millions through his workplace every week, while his son faces permanent paralysis because they can't afford treatment. Over the next 2 weeks, Danny starts paying attention to diplomatic medical equipment shipments. He uses his coordinator access to review shipping manifests, tracking numbers, weight discrepancies. The pattern becomes clear. Same road every time. Bogota to Miami to Switzerland. Same weight discrepancies that should trigger inspections but never do. Same supervisor, Elena Vasquez, always personally handling customs clearance. Danny digs deeper into the airport's computer systems. These suspicious shipments happen twice monthly, always on Tuesdays and Fridays. Elena always schedules herself for those shifts. When Danny checks personnel records, he discovers that Customs Inspector Carlos Mendoza was transferred to Detroit 6 months ago, right after filing reports questioning diplomatic cargo weights. Each shipment shows 15 to 20% weight discrepancies that officials consistently ignore. Danny calculates the numbers. If each container holds $2 to $3 million like the one he discovered, the criminal organizations are moving $8 to $12 million monthly through Miami International's diplomatic channels. Watching Marcus struggle with basic physical therapy while knowing criminal groups move millions past his desk every week, Danny starts planning. Not a random grab that would get him caught immediately. A surgical strike that looks like a shipping error, something that would take weeks for anyone to notice. He studies diplomatic cargo routing procedures for 2 weeks, memorizing schedules, camera locations, security protocols. Danny identifies the perfect target. Friday night shipment when skeleton crew works, and Elena takes her predictable 45-minute dinner break at exactly 11:30 p.m. Friday night arrives. Danny volunteers for overtime, positioning himself near diplomatic storage. At 11:25 p.m., Elena heads to the cafeteria for her usual break. Danny has his window, 45 minutes to swap containers and change his family's future forever. He approaches the diplomatic storage area with fabricated maintenance paperwork, but at 11:29 p.m., Elena suddenly returns. "Forgot my radio," she tells Danny, who's standing near the diplomatic containers with fake work orders in his sweating hands. Elena grabs her radio from the supervisor's desk and walks away. Danny's first operation attempt fails. He watches $1.8 million in criminal organization cash get loaded onto a Swiss diplomatic flight, knowing he came within 60 seconds of changing his life forever. August 12th, Hurricane Debbie threatens South Florida, triggering emergency protocols at Miami International. Half the airport staff gets evacuated, security cameras switch to emergency battery mode, recording every 10 minutes instead of continuously to conserve power. Danny volunteers for hurricane prep duty, the perfect cover. He's identified his target, Colombian educational equipment shipment scheduled to arrive Tuesday night and clear customs Wednesday morning. Danny's done his homework. This container holds $400,000 in criminal organization cash, disguised as school supplies, and it will disappear into the international banking system before anyone notices weight discrepancies. Danny's plan is mathematically precise. During the 10-minute camera gap, swap the diplomatic container with an identical one containing actual educational equipment from airport storage. Elena's mandatory evacuation briefing takes exactly 23 minutes, according to airport emergency protocols. Hide the real container in a sealed maintenance tunnel accessible only with his coordinator keycard. Return to normal duties before anyone notices. At 10:30 p.m., Hurricane Debbie's outer bands start hitting Miami. The airport transitions to skeleton crew operations. Danny positions himself in diplomatic storage, waiting for his window. 10:47 p.m. Security cameras enter their 10-minute recording gap. Danny's heart pounds as he uses his forklift to access the diplomatic container. Inside, textbooks and school supplies hide vacuum-sealed bundles of cash. His hands shake as he transfers everything to an identical container filled with actual educational equipment from storage. Perfect weight match, 847 pounds each. 10:51 p.m. The real container, stuffed with $400,000 in criminal organization cash, gets moved to the sealed maintenance tunnel behind hurricane emergency supplies. Danny uses his coordinator key card, the only access that won't trigger security alerts. 10:55 p.m. Danny returns to normal duties. Nothing appears disturbed. The fake container with real educational equipment sits exactly where the cartel money was, ready for tomorrow's customs inspection. But at 11:12 p.m., Elena returns early from the mandatory evacuation briefing. "Danny, what are you doing in this area?" Danny's throat goes completely dry. His pulse pounds in his ears. He's standing 15 feet from $400,000 in stolen criminal organization money, and Elena is staring directly at him. He shows her the fabricated maintenance paperwork with shaking hands. "Emergency securing loose cargo before the storm hits. This container wasn't properly strapped to the pallet. Could have shifted and damaged other shipments." Elena examines the fake container, sees textbooks and school supplies. "Good thinking, Danny. Safety first, especially with diplomatic cargo. Storm's supposed to hit hard overnight." She walks away to check other areas. Danny nearly collapses from relief, his legs shaking so badly he has to grab the container for support. Wednesday morning, customs inspector examines the educational equipment bound for Switzerland. The textbooks and supplies look suspiciously new for a Colombian school donation, but Elena vouches for the shipment personally. Danny Rivera secured this cargo during hurricane prep. He's our most reliable coordinator, 22 years on the job without a single security incident. The shipment passes through customs and boards the Swiss diplomatic flight. Danny has successfully taken $400,000 without anyone knowing a crime occurred. The criminal organization thinks their money reached Switzerland safely. Customs thinks they processed legitimate school supplies. Elena thinks Danny prevented storm damage to diplomatic cargo. That afternoon, Danny pays $45,000 to Dr. Rodriguez for Marcus's specialized imaging and surgical consultation. Marcus asks the question Danny's been dreading. "Dad, how did you get this money?" "You've been struggling with my medical bills for months. Insurance covered more than we initially thought, son. Some experimental treatment clauses I didn't understand before." But Danny knows exactly how close he came to complete disaster. His hands still shake when he thinks about Elena's unexpected early return from the briefing. 60 seconds later, and she would have found him red-handed with the container swapped. 3 days later, Danny's phone rings at 2 a.m. Carlos Mendoza, the transferred customs inspector. "Danny, I need to talk to you about those diplomatic shipments. Meet me tomorrow night at Versailles restaurant in Little Havana. I think Elena's working directly with the cartels, and I have proof." Carlos Mendoza looks paranoid, constantly checking over his shoulder as he spreads shipping manifests across the table at the back corner of Versailles restaurant. It's 11 p.m. and the Cuban diner is nearly empty, except for late shift workers grabbing midnight coffee. Elena takes $50,000 monthly from criminal organizations to expedite diplomatic cargo and skip weight verification requirements, Carlos explains, showing Danny photocopied bank statements and recorded phone conversations. "I documented everything for 6 months before they transferred me to Detroit, but I need someone still inside the airport to help me get evidence that will stick in federal court." Carlos points to shipping manifest for Memorial Day weekend. "This is our chance. $2.8 million in criminal organization gold coins disguised as Colombian cultural artifacts for Smithsonian Museum exhibition. Perfect opportunity. Minimal weekend staff. Elena working solo shift. Federal holiday means customs delays." Danny studies the documentation. The plan Carlos proposes is significantly more complex than his hurricane heist. Create fake emergency cargo rerouting due to museum exhibition schedule delays. Swap gold-filled artifacts with identical replicas made from painted lead weights. Use Carlos's retained customs inspector access codes to create false inspection records. Time everything precisely with Elena's extended holiday lunch break. She always takes exactly 90 minutes on federal holidays. Hide the real gold and decommission aircraft parts scheduled for Monday disposal. The lead replicas will pass visual inspection, Carlos explains. By the time anyone discovers the weight difference, we'll have converted the gold and disappeared. The criminal organizations will think their money reached the Smithsonian safely. Saturday, May 25th, 2:15 p.m. Elena leaves for her extended Memorial Day lunch break. Danny and Carlos execute their plan with military precision, using Danny's 22 years of airport knowledge and Carlos's customs expertise. 2:18 p.m., Danny initiates emergency rerouting protocol using supervisor override codes, creating legitimate paperwork for the container movement. 2:22 p.m., Carlos creates mandatory inspection delay, requiring container opening using his retained federal access codes. 2:25 p.m., Danny swaps authentic pre-Colombian gold artifacts with painted lead replicas. Perfect visual match, but the weight difference would be obvious to anyone who checks. The real gold weighs 340 pounds more than the replicas. 2:31 p.m., real gold worth $2.8 million gets hidden in decommissioned Boeing 747 engine parts container in the disposal yard, scheduled for Monday morning removal. 2:34 p.m., Carlos completes routine federal inspection, officially approving the fake artifacts for museum shipment. 2:38 p.m., container with lead replicas continues processing for Monday museum delivery. But at 2:39 p.m., Elena returns unexpectedly from lunch with airport security chief Miguel Santos. Random holiday security check, Elena announces, walking directly toward Danny's paperwork station. Federal regulations require supervisor verification of all weekend cargo movements. Danny's hands shake so violently he can barely sign the inspection report. Elena watches him carefully but says nothing, just files the paperwork and continues her security rounds. Monday morning, Elena notices significant weight discrepancies in the weekend reports. The cultural artifacts shipment shows different weight measurements in 3 separate computer systems: the original manifest, the rerouting documentation, and the final customs clearance. She starts reviewing security footage, but Memorial Day weekend recordings are automatically compressed to save server space and difficult to analyze frame by frame. Tuesday night, Carlos calls Danny in complete panic. Elena's asking specific questions about weekend inspections. She's suspicious about the weight discrepancies. We should return the gold immediately and abort everything before federal agents get involved. Danny refuses. My son's surgery is scheduled for next month. We're past the point of no return. I've already paid Dr. Rodriguez $50,000 in surgical deposits. If we stop now, Marcus loses his chance forever. Danny now has $3.2 million total hidden in various airport locations. $400,000 from the hurricane operation and $2.8 million in gold from Memorial Day. Marcus's surgery date approaches rapidly, but Elena's investigation intensifies every day. Danny starts losing sleep, jumping at every security radio call, constantly checking over his shoulder. Wednesday morning changes everything. The museum curator calls Elena directly. These Colombian artifacts are completely fake. They're painted lead weights, not authentic pre-Columbian gold. Someone took $2.8 million in criminal organization assets and nearly started an international incident between our museum and the Colombian government. Elena rushes back to Miami International and immediately starts investigating every person who had access to that container during Memorial Day weekend. Elena reviews personnel records for everyone with access to diplomatic cargo during Memorial Day weekend. The list is disturbingly short. Danny Rivera, cargo coordinator, 22-year service record. Carlos Mendoza, recently transferred customs inspector. 3 maintenance workers with minimal container access, and 2 security guards with patrol-only authorization. Danny realizes Elena suspects him when she starts asking pointed questions about his weekend overtime hours and cargo rerouting authorizations. He uses his coordinator access to monitor Elena's computer activity and email communications, discovering she's building a comprehensive case file. What Danny discovers in Elena's emails terrifies him. She's already contacted federal authorities. Under formal questioning by airport security, Carlos breaks completely within 2 hours. Danny Rivera recruited me to take criminal organization money. He's been planning this for months. I can show you exactly where he's hidden millions around the airport. Carlos offers full cooperation in exchange for federal immunity and witness protection. Elena immediately contacts DEA agent Martinez at the Miami field office. We have systematic unauthorized acquisition of criminal organization assets at Miami International. The perpetrators are airport employees with inside access and detailed knowledge of security protocols. I need federal backup for coordinated arrests. Danny learns about Carlos's complete betrayal through computer monitoring of Elena's case files. He has 48 hours maximum before federal agents execute arrest warrants. Marcus's experimental surgery is scheduled for the following week. This is Danny's absolute last chance to secure funding and escape. Danny identifies the ultimate target. Thanksgiving weekend shipment containing $23 million in criminal organization gold bars disguised as Boeing 747 aircraft engine parts. This final score will completely fund Marcus's surgery and provide enough money for Danny to disappear permanently before federal agents close their investigation. Thursday evening, while planning the Thanksgiving heist, Danny nearly gets caught placing electronic surveillance equipment in Elena's office to monitor federal communications. Security guard Miguel finds Danny after normal business hours. "Danny, what are you doing here so late? Building's supposed to be locked down except for emergency personnel." Danny shows fabricated system maintenance paperwork. Emergency computer system update before the holiday weekend. Elena requested this personally to prevent any cargo processing delays during peak travel period. Miguel examines the work order and accepts Danny's explanation, but files a routine security report documenting the after-hours access. Through his surveillance equipment, Danny discovers Elena has scheduled coordinated federal arrests for Monday morning after Thanksgiving weekend. He learns that Agent Martinez is assembling a joint task force with airport security, customs enforcement, and DEA agents. Danny realizes his final theft must happen Thanksgiving night. Maximum security gaps, minimal staffing, Elena off duty, and Carlos under federal surveillance. Thursday morning, Danny watches from his cargo office window as federal agents arrive for operational briefing. DEA agent Martinez and Elena review detailed building blueprints and plan strategic positions for Monday's arrests. Danny has exactly 12 hours before they lock down all cargo areas and begin executing arrest warrants. Thanksgiving night, Miami International operates with skeleton staffing. Most employees are home with families, leaving only essential security and maintenance personnel. With federal agents planning Monday arrests, Danny executes his most complex and dangerous theft operation. Target: $23 million in criminal organization gold bars disguised as Boeing 747 engine parts. Scheduled for Friday morning departure to Swiss banking facilities. Method: swap gold bars with actual engine parts from the airport maintenance yard, creating a perfect weight and visual match that will pass all security screenings. Timing: Thanksgiving night skeleton crew. Elena off-duty, Carlos under federal surveillance, minimal witness exposure. Escape plan: load taken gold into fake cargo container, scheduled for automatic Friday morning departure to Cayman Islands banking district. Danny leverages every advantage from 22 years of airport operations experience. Holiday emergency protocols allow unrestricted access to restricted cargo areas. Thanksgiving skeleton crew schedules provide minimal witnesses to unusual activity. Cargo emergency rerouting creates completely legitimate paper trail for container movements. Corrupt ground crew member provides loading assistance in exchange for $50,000 payment. Thursday, 11:30 p.m. Danny enters Miami International using legitimate Thanksgiving emergency duty authorization, which doesn't trigger security alerts. 11:45 p.m. Danny accesses diplomatic cargo storage using holiday emergency override codes, bypassing normal security protocols. 12:15 a.m. Friday, Danny begins the complex process of swapping $23 million in criminal organization gold bars with actual Boeing 747 engine parts from the maintenance yard. Each gold bar weighs exactly the same as corresponding engine components. 12:47 a.m. Danny loads real gold into specially prepared container marked Cayman Islands Emergency Medical Equipment, complete with forged shipping manifests and customs documentation. But at 12:52 a.m., security guard Miguel makes an unexpected patrol round and finds cargo bay doors open during what should be complete building lockdown. "Danny, what's going on here? These doors should be secured during holiday operations." Danny's heart nearly stops, but his 22 years of experience save him. Emergency engine parts replacement for grounded aircraft on Concourse D. Thanksgiving travelers need that morning flight to New York. Maintenance chief authorized immediate parts installation. Miguel examines Danny's fabricated work orders and radio authorization codes. "Good thinking. Holiday travelers have enough problems without flight delays. Need any assistance moving equipment?" "No thanks, Miguel. Almost finished here." Miguel continues his security patrol, completely unaware he just spoke to a man in the middle of stealing $23 million. 1:23 a.m. Danny creates comprehensive shipping manifests showing legitimate emergency cargo transfer to Cayman Islands medical facilities, using his coordinator access to generate authentic customs documentation. 1:28 a.m. Elena's home security system sends automated alert about Danny's keycard access during holiday lockdown. She considers driving to the airport to investigate, but decides to wait until morning since Danny frequently works overtime during holiday periods. 1:45 a.m. Danny schedules automatic Friday 6 a.m. departure for his container, ensuring it will clear Miami International before federal agents begin their Monday investigation. 1:51 a.m. Federal surveillance team monitoring Carlos Mendoza notices unusual late-night activity at Miami International through electronic monitoring systems. Agent Martinez considers immediate response, but decides to wait for scheduled Monday operation to avoid compromising their investigation. 2:17 a.m. Danny's final container holding $23 million in criminal organization gold passes through automated security systems and enters the departure queue for Friday morning Cayman Islands flight. All paperwork appears completely legitimate, all documentation properly signed, all electronic signatures verified through Danny's coordinator access. At 2:45 a.m., Elena arrives at Miami International, unable to sleep due to growing suspicions about Danny's recent behavior patterns. She finds Danny loading equipment into his pickup truck in the employee parking lot. Working late on Thanksgiving night, Danny? That's dedication above and beyond normal duty requirements. Danny shows Elena his fabricated emergency work orders. Grounded aircraft needed immediate engine parts replacement. Passengers are stranded, and tomorrow's one of the busiest travel days of the year. Couldn't let families miss Thanksgiving because of mechanical delays. Elena nods approvingly and watches Danny drive away, not knowing she just witnessed the completion of the largest airport theft in American history. Friday, 5:30 a.m. Elena reviews overnight activity logs and discovers Danny's containers successfully shipped to Cayman Islands with perfect documentation. She immediately calls Agent Martinez. He's not just stealing money, he's escaping the country. The final theft happened last night, and he's already converted everything to offshore assets. Agent Martinez assembles an emergency federal task force at Miami DEA headquarters. Danny Rivera has taken over $26 million in criminal organization assets and successfully fled to Cayman Islands with sophisticated money laundering operations. This is now an international fugitive investigation with serious diplomatic complications. Elena provides Danny's complete escape timeline and methodology. He's not some desperate amateur. He's methodical, precise, professional. Every theft was perfectly planned and executed. He'll have multiple backup identities and escape routes prepared. FBI coordinates emergency cooperation with Cayman Islands authorities, but Danny's container arrived Friday morning with absolutely perfect documentation. Local Cayman banking officials report that Maritime Logistics Solutions LLC opened multiple accounts Thursday using completely legitimate business references and proper documentation. Danny immediately begins converting criminal organization gold to clean, untraceable assets through the sophisticated Cayman Islands banking system. $23 million in gold becomes electronic wire transfers to numbered Swiss accounts. He creates multiple backup identity documents using offshore corporate structure and purchases a 65-foot yacht named Segunda Oportunidad for Caribbean island hopping. While Danny operates from international waters, Marcus undergoes his experimental spinal surgery at Miami-Jackson Memorial Hospital. The $180,000 procedure is funded by Danny's stolen money, but Marcus doesn't know the source. Isabel calls Danny from the hospital. The surgery is happening right now. Marcus is in the operating room. The doctors say the procedure looks promising. How did you manage to get this money? I found a way, son. Just focus on getting better. Everything's going to be fine. Under federal protection and immunity agreements, Carlos provides devastating detailed evidence of Danny's methods, Elena's criminal organization bribery operations, and comprehensive airport security vulnerabilities that enabled systematic money laundering. Colombian criminal organizations discover they're missing $26 million and demand immediate revenge. They send threatening messages to airport employees, find Danny Rivera's location, or everyone pays the price. Federal agents are forced to provide protective custody for airport staff and their families. From his yacht anchored in international waters between Cayman Islands and Jamaica, Danny watches CNN coverage of his story. Airport employee takes millions from criminal organizations to save son's life. Public opinion is deeply divided. He's become a folk hero to some Americans, a dangerous criminal to others. Agent Martinez faces enormous pressure from Washington. Rivera has committed the largest airport operation in federal history, but his actions expose criminal organization money laundering operations worth hundreds of millions. The Justice Department wants him back alive for testimony that could destroy entire networks. Saturday morning brings devastating news. Colombian criminal organization operatives have arrived in Cayman Islands, hunting Danny with orders to eliminate him and recover the money. Federal agents receive intelligence about the imminent threat and race to warn Danny before confrontation erupts in the Caribbean banking paradise. The Final Confrontation. Danny's yacht, Segunda Oportunidad, is located at Grand Cayman Marina by both federal law enforcement agents and Colombian criminal organization operatives simultaneously. Agent Martinez arrives with Coast Guard backup to arrest Danny and bring him back for testimony. Criminal organization enforcers arrive with automatic equipment to eliminate Danny and send a message to anyone who takes from them. Danny Rivera is caught between American law enforcement and certain harm from the most dangerous criminals on Earth. Agent Martinez radios Danny's yacht directly. Danny, criminal organizations want you eliminated, but we want you alive for federal testimony. Surrender immediately and we guarantee complete protection for you and your family. My son just had surgery to walk again. I need confirmation that he's safe and the procedure was successful before I surrender anything to anyone. In Miami, Marcus's experimental surgery proved successful. He regains complete feeling in both legs for the first time since the shooting. Isabel calls Danny with tears in her voice. The doctors say he'll walk again completely. Danny, how did you make this miracle happen? Sometimes fathers have to take extraordinary risks for their children's futures. Colombian cartel representatives make direct threats against airport employees and their families. Danny Rivera stole our money, and now everyone pays until he's found and eliminated. Federal agents provide emergency protective custody for Elena, Miguel, Carlos, and other airport staff who might face cartel retaliation. Realizing his theft has endangered completely innocent airport workers and their families, Danny contacts Agent Martinez directly. I'll provide complete testimony about airport corruption and cartel money laundering operations, but I need absolute guarantees that my family and former coworkers stay safe from cartel revenge. Danny offers federal agents a comprehensive evidence package, complete documentation of cartel money laundering through Miami International's diplomatic channels, financial records proving Elena's systematic bribery operations and corruption, detailed shipping manifests showing years of systematic abuse of diplomatic immunity, names and evidence against all airport employees involved in the smuggling conspiracy. Elena, facing serious federal charges, cooperates completely with investigators. Danny Rivera exposed the corruption I should have stopped years ago. His actions saved more innocent lives than they endangered. Cayman Islands authorities refused to allow a violent shootout between American federal agents and Colombian cartels in their international banking district. They demand immediate peaceful resolution to protect their financial reputation. At 4:30 p.m. Saturday, cartel assassins locate Danny's yacht at the marina. Federal agents arrive simultaneously from the opposite direction. Danny must make an impossible choice: surrender to federal agents and face prison, or attempt escape and risk everyone's lives in a Caribbean gunfight. Automatic weapons fire erupts at the marina as Colombian assassins engage federal agents in broad daylight. Danny starts his yacht engines and races toward open water while bullets shatter windows around him. Danny's yacht, Segunda Oportunidad, races desperately toward international waters, while Coast Guard and DEA boats pursue from one direction and heavily armed cartel boats attack from another. Bullets shatter his cabin windows as he pushes the twin engines to maximum speed, leaving a wake of white foam across the turquoise Caribbean. Agent Martinez radios frantically. Danny, surrender now or we let the cartels have you. Your son's surgery was completely successful. Marcus is walking again. Don't throw your life away when you've already won. From his hospital bed in Miami, Marcus calls his father on the satellite phone. Dad, I can feel my legs completely. The surgery worked perfectly. Please come home alive. I need my father, not a dead hero. Colombian assassins close in rapidly, machine guns blazing across the water. Danny's yacht takes heavy damage to the hull and engines. He's only 200 yards from international waters in complete freedom, but his boat is taking water and losing speed rapidly. Elena's voice crackles over the federal radio frequency. Danny, I'm testifying about everything. The cartel bribes, the airport corruption, all of it. Your thefts expose the real criminals. Surrender now and help us finish destroying their operations. With his yacht taking water fast and cartel boats closing the distance, Danny Rivera makes his final choice. He stops the engines just 50 yards from international waters and raises both hands as Coast Guard boats surround him. Federal agents arrest Danny as cartel boats flee toward Colombian territorial waters. Agent Martinez speaks directly. Danny Rivera, you're under arrest for theft of $26.2 million in cartel assets. But you're also the key witness who's going to destroy the largest money laundering operation in DEA history. 6 months later, Danny's comprehensive testimony leads to convictions of 47 cartel operatives and corrupt airport officials. His sentence, 18 months minimum security federal prison in exchange for complete cooperation. Marcus walks into the Miami federal courthouse on his own legs for his father's sentencing hearing. Your Honor, my father committed serious crimes, but he saved my life and exposed corruption that was destroying innocent people's lives. As Danny enters federal prison, CNN reports, Rivera's testimony has led to the shutdown of cartel operations at 12 airports nationwide, with over $2 billion in criminal assets seized by federal authorities. 18 months later, Danny walks out of minimum security federal prison. Marcus waits for him, walking normally, wearing a DEA Academy cadet uniform. Marcus hugs his father. Dad, I graduate from the Federal Academy next month. I'm going to fight cartels the legal way. I'm proud of you, son. You became the man I always hoped you'd be. Agent Martinez briefs Danny on the total impact of his testimony. 47 cartel operatives convicted and sentenced to life in federal prison, $2.1 billion in criminal assets seized and returned to victims, airport smuggling operations permanently shut down at 12 international airports, Elena sentenced to 18 months and now working as a federal security consultant. Elena approaches Danny outside the courthouse. Your crimes exposed my corruption and cowardice. I spent 18 months in prison thinking about all the lives we could have saved if I'd been brave like you. Agent Martinez hands Danny a federal consultant badge. The Department of Transportation wants you as a permanent security consultant. Help us stop smuggling operations at airports nationwide using everything you learned as a criminal. 1 month later, Danny watches Marcus graduate valedictorian from DEA Academy. Marcus's speech, my father showed me that desperate people sometimes make desperate choices, but justice always finds a way to turn even crimes into forces for good. Danny's first federal assignment, investigate suspicious cargo activity at Los Angeles International Airport. His criminal expertise becomes law enforcement's most effective weapon against international cartel money laundering operations. Danny arrives at LAX wearing a federal badge, coordinating with local airport security to implement the Rivera protocols. The exact same methods he once used to steal millions, now used to protect innocent people worldwide. Miami International displays a permanent plaque. Danny Rivera, from criminal to federal consultant, proving that courage and redemption can transform even the worst choices into forces for justice. Total stolen by Danny Rivera, $26.2 million in cartel assets. Total criminal networks dismantled through his testimony, $2.1 billion. Marcus Rivera, completely recovered federal agent. Danny Rivera, federal security consultant, protecting airports worldwide from the criminals he once robbed. Danny Rivera transformed from desperate father to master criminal to federal hero. His story proves that sometimes breaking the law becomes the only way to expose greater crimes, and that justice always finds a way to transform guilt into redemption. So here's my question for you. Do you think Danny Rivera was a criminal or a hero? Hit that like button if you believe desperate fathers will do anything to save their children, and subscribe if you think sometimes good people have to break bad laws to expose real criminals. And tell me in the comments, if your child's life was on the line and you discovered millions in criminal organization money just sitting there, what would you do? Would you walk away or become a thief for the right reasons?